Hey, you guys, I hope everyone is having a great day. Have you ever been in a public restaurant or a grocery store and you see a kid throwing food, taking food from off of someone else's plate, running through the aisles of the store, taking all the clothes off the racks, maybe taking their own clothes off themselves, throwing shoes, crying uncontrollably, and you wonder to yourself, what is wrong with this kid? Or you say, this kid's parents has no control. Maybe you've even said, all this kid needs is a little bit of discipline. I'm sure we've all thought it before, but have you ever stopped and wondered that maybe this child has special needs? Maybe this child has autism. You see, children with autism, this is how they see the world. This to us looks like a mess, just a bunch of scribbled lines that make no sense. But to a child with autism, this is how they see the world. This makes sense to them. So with that being said, let's jump right in. Let's talk about what exactly is autism. What is autism? Autism is a serious developmental disorder that impairs the ability to communicate and interact. What that means is a lot of children with autism can't communicate. They're nonverbal or they don't know how to communicate. A lot of children in my school that I work in use communication books. These communication books tell kids or helps kids explain to us what they need or what they want. A lot of the communication books come with pictures, some with words. Pictures such as apple, orange, eat, hungry, bathroom. You get the picture. Autism spectrum disorder are a group of disorders with common disabilities in three key areas: social awareness and interaction, which a lot of kids with autism prefer to just be alone. They are not interested in making friends, they're not interested in playing with friends. Language and other communications, like I told you, a lot of them are nonverbal. Some of them may use sign language, some of them don't communicate at all. And imaginative play. That means that a lot of children with autism, they don't imagine, they don't play house, they don't pretend that they're doctors or lawyers like the average 2-year old would do. Early signs of autism. Some signs of autism is the student may avoid eye contact. They're nonverbal, which we've talked about in the previous slide. They use facial expressions that don't match what he or she's saying. Like maybe they'll tell you they're happy, but their facial expression doesn't explain or doesn't show that they're happy. They have rituals, routines. You have to keep them within their routine, or not being in routines could cause behaviors. Sometimes we can't control that the routine is thrown off. So we have to deal with that as it comes. But most students with autism prefer to stick with the routine, and it is imperative that you try to stick with the routine as close as you can. Some students have rituals. That means that they have to tap a certain amount of time on maybe a light switch or flick the light switch off and on a certain amount of time. Maybe turn around in circles a few times or count every chair as they walk by. That's what rituals mean. Some children with autism don't like noises. I know when we have our fire drill at our school, some of the children will hold their hands up to their ear because the noise bothers them. Statistics. According to the CDC, about 1% of the world population has autism spectrum disorder. In the U.S., it is estimated that 1 in 68 births and more than 3.5 million Americans live with autism. Autism services cost the U.S. citizen 236 to 262 billion annually, and majority of the costs in the U.S. are for adult services. So they're really not for kids services. Most of the cost comes from the adult services. Autism is more commonly in boys than it is in girls, and currently there is no cure for autism. It's a lifelong condition. Most kids with autism can't tell you what's wrong, and they can't tell you how they feel. Some of the symptoms. Children with autism usually have trouble with, like I said, pretend play, social interaction because they like to be alone, verbal and nonverbal communication. Usually it's not noticed that the child has something wrong until they're 18 months old. Sometimes you can tell with delayed speech in infants. They babble at the time that they're supposed to be able to say some words. Not being able to make eye contact, facial expression. Sometimes you can tell that in infants. Help is usually not received until the child is about 2. Some children appear normal before the age 1 or 2 and then suddenly regress and lose language or social skills. When they lose this skill, these are called regressive type of autism. Some children with autism have behaviors. They have these behaviors because they don't know how to communicate with us what's going on, so they often may hit, bite, cry, just act up. It doesn't mean that they are bad, they're just having a hard time communicating their wants and needs. Medications are often used to treat behavior or emotions that people with autism may have. Medications are used for aggression, anxiety, mood swings, and sometimes sleep difficulty. This may look a mess to all of us, but this is their life, this is their world, and this would make sense to them. The world. For more information, visit the websites www.autism.society.org or www.autismspeaks.org.